Cuba Gooding Jr.'s career has had one of the biggest downfalls in the history of show business. And despite being an amazing actor, he is a huge fan of controversies. Numerous ugly episodes throughout Cuba's career has turned him into persona non grata in Hollywood, and even his Oscar-winning performance doesn't convince filmmakers to work with him ever again. Apparently, the actor has been blacklisted by the industry, and wait till you hear who Cuba blames in his misfortunes. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Celeb Live Channel. I keep my eyes on the most discussed events in show business and always bring you the hottest update. Well, a day in Hollywood without another successful career being stained by a public scandal is a wasted day. But luckily, there's always something going on in the industry. Cuba Gooding was one of the most promising black actors back in the 90s, and he even won Oscar for Best Supporting Actor for Jerry Maguire in 1997. Somehow, he quickly turned from one of the most coveted candidates for the roles into a pariah, and according to the actor, he's blacklisted by almost every single director in Hollywood. While the actor has been pretty established for his outstanding performance and was basically bathed in fame and the love of fans, it seems like in the end he didn't deserve this award, and it has corrupted his soul and turned Cuba from a humble person into an arrogant and self-pompous man. Well, for many actors, Oscar is not only the most coveted award in the world, but also a reason to start demanding more from producers. And this is exactly what happened to Cuba. His name is included in many lists of so-called Oscar curse. And Cuba Gooding Jr. is indeed a textbook example of an actor who won a quite dubious Oscar and almost instantly torpedoed his own career with terrible choices. Let me start with the fact that back then, winning such an award was a huge achievement for a black actor, and I guess Cuba indeed believed that this win has cemented his position among the titans of cinematography. Unfortunately, instead of getting more roles and better salaries and continuing to surprise the audience with his performance, his career went downhill so rapidly, and directors and producers stopped inviting him at all. According to insiders, the Oscar-related attention and fame got to the actor's head, and he decided that he was the A-list celebrity after this one win, so he was free to demand any role in any movie upon his choice. I know that acting is a job like anything else, and you can actually say no to any role if you don't feel like performing it, but in the case of Cuba, it was more than a diva behavior. As the actor himself revealed, this was a bad period of his career because, looking back at the choices he had made, it turned out he missed the opportunity to participate in some great movies like Amistad, Ray, The Last King of Scotland, and Hotel Rwanda, all of which went on to be nominated for several Academy Awards. When he was asked what prompted him to turn down these roles, he said that he was simply trying to do better after his Oscar winning. Cuba stated, "When I won the Oscar, I fell into that mind. Set that this is a precious role. People everywhere were shouting, 'Show me the money.' I just didn't want anything that could parody the fact that I was like a tagline in a movie. So when Steven Spielberg offered me Amistad, I said no. When Hotel Rwanda came along, I said no. I was saying no to all of these things because I had in my mind the role I wanted to play." However, as people speculate, Cuba was aiming for more noble roles than he had done before. And apparently, the desire not to play a bad guy anymore cost him the second statue, since the role he had turned down went to another actor, Forrest Whitaker, and he even won an Oscar for the role, which was meant for Cuba. Well, when you throw away one good opportunity after another, eventually even the most patient people get tired of your attitude, and this is exactly what happened to Cuba. Even the golden gleam of Oscar stopped attracting directors, and Cuba was getting less and less offers because no one wants to deal with a moody diva on set. Apparently, Cuba was thinking that he was the only person in Hollywood with an award, and people were going to tolerate his tantrums and offer him the roles he hadn't been cut for. Eventually, Cuba came to his senses and realized that participating in the movie was a huge privilege, but it was long after the pile of offers on his table turned into dust. As the actor stated, "I had all these big directors offering me roles, and I read their scripts and said, I don't think this part is right for me. And what happens is, if you offend enough big directors, you get taken off their list. Better late than never, but something tells me that it wasn't a huge insight, but simply lack of money." And once Cuba realized that he has a big hole in his pocket, he quickly changed his attitude. Yeah, having an Oscar on the shelf and choosing roles with your heart is great, but it's not going to pay for luxury cars and private jets that Cuba got used to. Many people feel sorry for him because he only wanted to follow his heart, and it's simply his naivety that ruined everything. As one person wrote, "He is his own worst enemy. He alone sabotaged his career. It's a shame because he is a great actor. I will never forget his portrayal in Boys in the Hood. He was excellent." And another person added, "Cuba Gooding killed his on career. Guess he didn't believe in self-destruction because he set himself up for failure. Well, nobody's fault but his. Having realized that he needed to eat something and feed his family as well, Cuba tried to get new roles, waving his Oscar card before he even stepped inside directors' offices. But unfortunately for him, nothing good was offered to him, and all the propositions were less than mediocre and not worthy his status. As Cuba himself recalls that period, "I was in the wilderness of Hollywood for almost 10 years. I was off the studio lists. I wasn't getting the roles offered to actors that hadn't done a third of the roles I had done or had the popularity I had." That felt like the end of Cuba Gooding Jr. in Hollywood until he landed on a role of O.J. Simpson in American Crime Story. And again, he showed that he was truly capable of showing a great act because he was even nominated for an Emmy for his role. But despite all expectations, his career never soared again because at this time, Cuba got involved into a series of personal scandals. First of all, his wife left him after 20 years of marriage because of his alleged cheating, and the actor's behavior immediately got worse again. In 2019, more than 30 women come forward to accuse him of inappropriate behavior and unwanted touching. It's quite bad when one person says something, but when the entire group of women moves against you, I guess, even the most perfect reputation would crumble under such public pressure. And boy, these accusations range from unwanted kissing to forcible touching, and some victims even came forward with the stories of unwanted encounter, as one lady who stated that Cuba walked into the bar and harassed numerous women there, and even punched a man who was trying to take a photo of Cuba enjoying a lap dance. As more victims came forward, they joined the accusations and revealed that the actor was touching and grabbing their intimate parts without their consent. So these accusations eventually led to his arrest. And although Cuba first denied everything, apparently the justice system was not on his side. As the actor said after his arrest, "I trust the system and the process." There's a tape that shows what really happened. That's the most important thing. On that footage, Gooding appears to touch a woman's leg and chest, so he indeed told the judge that he kissed the waitress on her lips without her consent at the Lavo nightclub as a part of his plea deal. The attorney's office said the plea deal does not call for any jail time and instead requires Gooding to have no new arrests and continue alcohol and behavior modification treatment for 6 more months. However, the actor's lawyer came forward claiming that Cuba was just misunderstood, and in fact, his touching was nothing more than being extremely friendly, and these women simply misunderstood his true intentions. Even with Cuba walking free and avoiding jail time, I assume that he won't be making any comeback anytime soon. With sexual misconduct allegations being taken more seriously these days, most studios wouldn't even think of employing someone as controversial as Cuba Gooding Jr., especially with a list of accusers as long as his. But the man sees himself as a victim of the industry, and he even dared to state that he was mistreated for this behavior, while many other actors are allowed to walk free doing exactly the same. Many fans lost all hopes to see Cuba on the big screen ever again because apparently he cannot stop blaming others for his own mistakes. And despite his actually brilliant performances, the actor has to face the only villain of his story, Hawkeye, himself. As one person wrote, "These are all examples of someone's ego destroying them. His career can always come back, but it will take time. He needs to humble himself." And another person commented, "He killed his career. Being a party boy, putting his hands on people. He's been on a run since he won his Oscar. He's never stopped. Everyone in the industry knows he's too unstable." It actually looks like there's no one to blame but Cuba himself and his bad choices, both professional and personal, turned him into one of the least coveted and desired actors in Hollywood. And while it took him so long to come to his senses, probably it's too late to cry a river and his golden days are over. And what do you reckon? Has Cuba ruined his own career? And did it happen because of the Oscar curse? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'm eager to know what you're thinking. And in the meantime, check my other video about destroyed careers. Apparently, James Corden has also damaged his reputation by his arrogance. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned, and I promise to be back very soon with a new portion of gossip about your favorite celebrities